Anastasia, thank you for joining me from La Junta, and so you had a chance to see the latest film that we're going to be discussing, Native Son, I believe, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, so for those who are just tuning in, today we are talking about a recently restored film. It's a film noir by the title of Native Son that got a truncated release back in 1951. Movies based on a novel by the same name written by Richard Wright, which was published more than a decade ago in 1940. Groundbreaking bestseller. It moved just a lot of, it did very well. It actually got him referenced in essays by a lot of prominent Black writers like James Baldwin and Frantz Fanon. And Richard Wright himself, the author, was born in Roxie, Mississippi, 1908, and was one of the first African-American writers to protest the white American treatment of Black Americans. He later became a French citizen in 1947, a little bit after the release of the book. Well, I should say about like a decade after. The Parisian director Pierre Chenal, basically, he was a journalist, and he started working on films in the 1930s, but during the German occupation of World War II, escaped to South America. And that's where he made this movie, which is currently available to watch through the IFS website, internationalfilmseries.com. And it's $10 to watch. And half of that goes to Kino Lorber, our friends over there who are doing great work, including this restoration of Native Son, and the other half goes to the International Film Series, which keeps us kind of, it keeps us alive during the plague. So we really appreciate it when people check out movies through our website, because it kind of lets the administrators up above us know that we're still relevant and we're still providing a service. So it makes a difference. Every single person who goes and watches a movie at internationalfilmseries.com, you are making a difference. Anyway, Story for Native Son takes place in Chicago. It's got some authentic scenes from Chicago that were filmed in Chicago, but those get put in the backdrops. Otherwise, of course, it was, shot in Argentina as a stand-in. And so, yeah, tell me what you thought. I want to say one more thing before I forget, which is I actually meant to add Native Son, this restoration of Native Son, to the International Film Series program that we had last spring, because we were doing some film noirs with Sabrina's class. And ironically, they had to pull it at the last minute because there was still some stuff that they had to sort out. Even if I had managed to get it, it would have been pulled because of the plague. So anyway, now finally people can watch it. And sorry, I stepped on you. What were your impressions?
I was really impressed by this film. The entire time I was just, it was a very effective film in every way that I think it worked. I really appreciated at the beginning, there's an introduction by TCM that gives a lot of background information into the film, and I thought that was a very helpful context to establish before watching it. But I felt like I was holding my breath the whole time, and I don't know that I've had that sort of reaction to a movie in a while. So it was, I don't want to say an enjoyable watch, but it was one that I think was definitely, I'm really glad I watched it. I would recommend it to everyone. It just worked in many different nuanced ways, and some overt ways as well, a lot of those as well, but it just, everything meshed well. It had a lot of interesting messages, and yeah, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time.
So the TCM intro that's included when you watch it through the website, it's 8 minutes long. It gives a little bit of context for everything. And what I liked about that TCM intro is that it gives a little shout out to the 16mm collector who provided footage that makes this the most complete version possible to watch. So and I think it's always important to remember that film it's our shared history. Um, and there are people out there and the collectors who are going out of their way to find these obscure prints, and they're allowing us to have this portal into our history that's important. And it provides some more context. So yeah, it's just sort of an added bonus. And I'll go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, I do have to mention that this week is Banned Books Week, which this kind of has to engage with. So it has some interesting tie-ins there as well.
You know, I remember reading Native Son when I was in college here at CU. That was one of the books that made an impression on me back then. What I want to say, and speaking of making impressions, for me, what really was incredibly evocative of this particular film noir were the sets of the slums. That just fantastic. They were they really bring you into a just this mood and give you a vibe, and it's all incredibly well constructed. It actually ended up being a pretty expensive shoot by the standards of other films that were being shot in Argentina, at least, but very effective, very, very effective. And the whole third act was basically, you know, in these dilapidated towers that were very elaborately created for this movie.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. The production design and the art direction was just, it was great. How they balanced shooting a film about Chicago in Argentina was, I think they pulled it off. But
and for local readers, I just want to give a little bit of a shout out to Michael Casey, who did a nice write up for this in the Boulder Weekly, and another. And this is actually, I believe that our friend Kyle for the Chicago Film Society also wrote a much longer piece that's available online if you get onto IMDb, and it was actually a piece that he wrote years ago, but it gives a lot of background to the restoration of this movie, and it answers some questions people might have. Again, it's a fascinating movie, and I don't, you know, the fact that the author was basically the star of the movie, that's kind of, I mean, and some people had a problem with this because in the book it's a teenager and the author was, you know, in his early 40s when he did the, but you know, unless you're a purist who just read the book and just wanted to see the, you know, a teenager play the main role. I mean, I actually thought Richard Wright I thought he was just fine. He actually brought something interesting to the role that was, I don't know, it was very effective, and I had no problem with him as the protagonist. But you know.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't think that age was necessarily the main point of this story. So to me, no, they mentioned in the dialogue that he's 25, but that didn't bother me at all. I thought he had a great performance. I thought it really worked, and it's such an interesting connection having the author playing the protagonist. So I thought it added a sense of, it increased the value and appreciation for me.
Absolutely. So I will add one more thing before I forget, which is that we've got like 3 or 4 codes, bonus codes, so that if you are watching this or listening to this and you're strapped for cash and you want to watch Native Son from the International Film Series website, reach out to us and we'll give you a free bonus code to watch the movie. So first come, first serve. We only got a few, but yeah, drop us a line, and we want to make sure that whoever wants to see this gets to see it. It's an important movie, and you know, in the world of film noir, and you know, we all love film noirs, but it's a shame that the protagonists of all the film noirs, it's basically a bunch of white people. And here we have a very interesting, very well put together, nuanced film noir with a Black protagonist. So it's something that should be seen, and we want to help you see it. So check it out. Anastasia, thanks for joining me as always. And we'll do this again next week, and we'll talk then.
All right.
All right. Ciao.
Ciao.